Welcome back to the Tribe of Runners podcast. I'm your host, Liz Myers, and today I'm doing another solo episode. I feel like there may be more of these coming your way through the podcast, but I'm not entirely sure. I like them, yet I can't keep them very long, and sometimes I just feel like I'm repeating myself time and time again. But what I really wanted to do this episode is kind of give a more running update and what the bad bitch comeback is going to look like for this year. So, as a lot of you know, I've gone through some shit in life. Life was kind of crazy, but things have simmered, and I'm back to training. I'm back to feeling more normal, and I'm taking things day by day and trying my best not to overthink and overconsume myself with the I'm not doing enough. I'm not, just all the things. And so far, things have been going pretty well. I will say last week was wild. I am officially home. Obviously, I'm in the studio, and I just got back from Desert Peak Ultra. It was insane in the best kind of way. Let me just tell you, I'll give you more of a recap later, but a crazy race, something, or I should say, a race I did not expect to be that hard. I didn't run it, but from the little bit of course recon I've done that day or the weekend, and honestly, just hearing everyone come through the finish and seeing all of the faces, it showed everything. But hands down, this race is amazing. Everyone was like, it was hard, it was insane, but the views were stunning and it was a good challenge. So we'll get kind of more into that of like what that comeback, like what the week has been of going out to Desert Peak. But aside from that weekend out there, my training's been very conservative. Nothing super, super crazy. I'm going to go through like the details of what it's really looked like. I feel like I want to share more of what my training is. I used to do a training log, I used to try to do like a newsletter. It just became a lot and a lot to keep up with on top of everything else. So maybe one day something like that will come back. But I'm thinking I'm going to do a little more of like training updates and hopefully have Christy on here and talk about what we're doing to get ready for No Business, because we're both going to be racing that, and just share more of like my story and what's going on. I mean, it is my podcast, but I also want to have everyone else on here and share all the amazing stories that I possibly can too. So it's going to be a combination. I am trying to incorporate more mindset, the way we think, the way we do things, more philosophy, more just thinking and being outside of the quote unquote normal runner story and hearing everything that they learned and how to overcome that. Mind you, these stories are still amazing. I still want to have them, but I may be asking a little bit different types of questions, maybe a little more in depth questions, maybe asking the hard questions. I'm very excited and I'm ready to kind of do the same with myself and share the good, the bad, the ugly, and just give true updates. So we're going to go back along maybe like 2 months ago. If I do the calculations, it's about 10 weeks ago. I finally got semi back to running. This was before the move. And how my training kind of looked was just doing what I could, to be 100% honest. That was at the peak of like life being really crazy. And then the onset of so much going on, and just the stress of life was super, super high. Plus, trying to put all the training out there, it was just too much stress on myself. I couldn't handle it, obviously. We all know that story. Go listen to episode 100 if you want more information. But now I realize like I'm in control of this. I am self coached now. So if anyone doesn't know, I was coached by Joe Corcione on the Everyday Ultra. Everyone knows that. I work with him. He's the greatest. But I came to a point in my training, honestly, where the ankle was just so angry that I would miss runs or I'd have to adjust runs all the time. And instead of being that athlete that was like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I just kind of started doing it myself. Then I had the conversation with Joe, and he's like, dude, you 100% can coach yourself. I don't know why you're not doing it. I'm like, it's just kind of nice to have someone program your stuff, to be 100% honest. It's one less person I have to worry about. But with the extreme back and forth with how angry my ankle was, it was just truly a good decision to self coach. I knew I could manage the stress of the ankle and how it was feeling better than I could have to tell someone every single day, hey, the ankle's super upset. I can't run today. Hey, I'm going to do some more mobility today, maybe not as long as a run. I'm going to do some ankle work, figuring out how the ankle felt after PT. There's just a lot of moving factors. So when I first got back into running with coaching myself, I told myself, I'm going to program myself just like I do my athletes, 1 week at a time, nothing crazy, but I was going to be super flexible with myself, but also very strict. I didn't want to get in that weird, I couldn't get myself back in the rhythm of running. It was truly a big concern of mine. When life gets crazy and you stop running and then you try to get back into running, you aren't as consistent typically. And it's just harder to kind of get back into things. So, mind you, my mindset was like, girl, you are running. We are not running. I wanted to get back into the daily routine. I wanted to get back into the grind. I hate using that word, but I needed to figure out how to get through the slump of the typical I'm trying to motivate myself. I can't motivate myself. I have no discipline. So I figured I was going to make the plan. I was going to stick to it. But if the ankle was acting up, I could make adjustments. But my big rule of thumb was trying to keep the volume about the same. So if I had to adjust an hour run, I would try to fit that somewhere else, or I would try to walk a little bit more compared to usual. So all of these things, just trying to truly get myself back into running. And it worked. I did fine. I'm obviously consistently running and things are going really, really good, but it wasn't a clean start. So a few weeks that I didn't actually write down, they were just honestly like an hour here, 40 minutes there, and then it was just pretty insane. So when I officially got back in, I got my first week of, let's say, 3 hours steadily training. And this did include some power hiking. So kind of back before I was doing all of the training, I was also doing power hiking. So I still have my vert goal and I was still trying to get as much vert as I could without upsetting the ankle, without running too much too. Cause I was in that weird like sick phase and then like felt like I didn't have any cardio. It's a whole thing. But when I officially got 2 weeks of solid training, about 3-4 hours, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna roll here. So my first week back to steadily training, I got 6,000 feet of vert, and I will say some of that vert was through power hiking, which I don't have like the time in here, but it was 3 hours of running, about 15 miles, and the miles do include the vert, power hiking vert. And I was happy with it. I felt pretty good. Then I bumped up to 5 hours. And that week, I kept roughly about the same vert, right around, I think it was like 7,600 feet. And I went up to 24 miles. Still felt really good. I still was incorporating a little bit of power hiking at this time. And then the next week, I did 5 hours again. But this time, it was a little less vert. I want to say I couldn't get on the treadmill. I can't really remember. Maybe it was during the move. I'm pretty sure it was around the move time. So I got in a few flatter runs, and I got 5,200 feet of vert and 23 miles. So about the same. 2 weeks in a row, was feeling really, really good. Then I moved, and I got 1 hour of training, 1,700 feet of vert, and 5.4 miles. So it was just a day. It was just a week, I should say, of moving. And during that, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm super stressed. This was very stressful. We went through a lot of chaos. And then the following week, getting ready to start training again, I was like, I'm going to keep this super chill. I'm going to use this as more of like another deload easy week. It was 3.5 hours, 4,000 feet of vert, and 16 miles. I will say during that week, I went and ran with an athlete of mine that came down to Sarasota. Her name is Danny. Shout out. She actually crushed the Desert Peak Ultra 50K. She did amazing. But when that happened, not as much vert because I ran outside compared to running inside on the treadmill one of the days. And I really tried to listen to my body that week because I was just super stressed, going through so much crap. Again, I kind of feel like I had a breakthrough. Life got wild. And so officially that week was done. I'm like, you know what? Let's get back into training. Like, I'm feeling good. Everything is feeling fine. So I went back to 5.5 hours, 7,500 feet of vert, and 26 miles. The next week I did 6 hours, 7K of vert, 30 miles. A little more mileage there, not as much vert. I'm going to kind of explain all of this in a second. The next week after that, I did 7 hours with just under 7,000 feet of vert, 34 miles. And then I did another week of 7 hours, 7,700 feet of vert, and 33 miles. Now, I will say that last week I weirdly increased my vert, not meaning to. When I was doing a treadmill workout, I believe I put it to 8% instead of 6%. I didn't realize till I finished, so I increased the vert a lot more for 2 workouts. But I felt great, so I wasn't like upset with it. And I believe that was the longest long run I finally got in, which was roughly 3.5 hours. And I felt really good. I got 2,000 feet of vert in that. And I was just like, wow, I live in Florida and I got 2,000 feet of vert outside doing hill repeats in 2.5 hours. I was pretty happy. So that's kind of how training has been for the past 2, 3 months. It's been wild. It's been untypical. It's been very unrealistic. It's been not your average running schedule, but I've made it work. I've listened to my body and I've really tried to manage the stress between everything. I'm actually in the process of making a YouTube video about this, so stay tuned. But I talk about like the stress of life and the stress of training, and we have so much in both. If we are an athlete and or an endurance athlete doing any type of extra thing on our body. So like me personally, I have my personal life going on with all the stressors and the chaos of that. And then I have my training life. And in my training life, it's not just running. I do a whole bunch of mobility. I do a whole bunch of cross training. I lift. I've really gotten into lifting, which I'm going to share more about in this episode. But I was realizing I was trying to juggle all this stuff and I just couldn't manage. So when trying to get back into this, I'm like, I need to be smart. I need to do the right thing. And I really need to take the time to genuinely listen to my body. If I need to sleep more, I need to sleep more. I know I went through a crazy life cycle and kind of like a system maybe in my life, or a good cycle. Cycle is a good word. A cycle in my life where I was sleeping like 5 hours a night. And weirdly enough, I'm pretty okay with that. But I would get up at 3:34 every morning. My dogs would get me up. There was no not going or not getting some sleep. But I just, I don't know, something shifted in them, thankfully. They got more sleep. I got more sleep. But I also was realizing that the stress my body was going through and everything going on in life, I needed more sleep. So it wasn't that, like, oh, I'm this magical person that doesn't need sleep and I can just power through everything and anything. No, life got the best of me. And what did my body do in order to let me know? It slept a lot more, which was very unnormal for me. And honestly, I'm still kind of sleeping a lot in comparison. I'm getting easily 7 to 7.5 hours. And I know some people may hear this and be like, that's not a lot of sleep. But it is for me when I used to sleep only 5 hours a night and be functioning and fine. So I take it as it is and I'm listening to my body. Extra sleep, tons of extra calories, extra nutrition. I'm really trying to dial in my nutrition and like just keeping the body happy. So sleep is most important, and that's what I've been doing. But I will say, like, what I really kind of struggled with was just the balance of how my body was really reacting to all the stress in life. And I think we put that to the side as ultra athletes because we're like, the whole David Goggins, like, don't be a bitch, you can do this, just push through. And don't get me wrong, I'm very much for that, and I will encourage people to be a bad bitch, and I will encourage people to push through. But I think that's just in like the sport, not so much in life. In life, things happen, it gets crazy, it gets uncomfortable. We have to manage through in order to become a better person. We have to handle what is going on, not just throw it under the rug and train our life away and try to train the chaos of life going on. So I've really been managing that and doing, I think, pretty good. I hope really, really good. But, it's just been a juggle, to be 100% honest. And I think a lot of us are afraid to talk about things like that because they just want to seem like some hard ass. But I still think I'm a hard ass. I still think I've done some great things and I'm just working to become better every single day. And how that looks right now is just genuinely not trying to overthink things and not trying to take on too much and just taking things one day at a time. And it's worked. So I'm proud of myself. What I would say is I am trying to get more back into my volume. into my vert, and into strength training. So that's three things like I kind of want to talk about and how I've been managing them, because as ultra runners, we are let's go, let's go, let's go, let's do all of the things, and we tend to increase things too much and get injured, and I don't want to get injured again. So what I've really been paying attention to and trying to do recently is the management between the load, the volume, and honestly my vert. So as you all know, I still have my vert goal. I'm still going strong. I am a little bit behind, but I'm not stressing out about it. Like, I have so many months yet. I'm fine. I'm not concerned. So when I started my vert, I know a lot of you will look at this and be like, wow, you went straight to 7,000. But before that, I was still power hiking a little bit and honestly just felt really, really good. I didn't go out there and just throw my treadmill up to, 10% and start running and doing anything crazy of that nature. I kept my treadmill at like a 4% and then going out and doing the repeats out at Celery. And I started super slow. Like, my mileage is really low because I'm getting that easy effort in incline or out doing hill repeats. So I'm keeping the load of that really low. I'm not doing any type of intervals. I'm not doing anything strenuous, keeping it nice and easy. Like, a majority of the runs are like 2 rate of effort at that time. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was just worried about like getting the body moving and getting consistent again. And I've also been strength training my little butt off because I've realized how much I've missed it and how much I've just kind of like let it go. So I'm back to the gym. I'm lifting like a heavy little bad bitch that I can be, and I'm feeling really, really good. I will say I am a lot sorer than I ever remember being, but I'm sure I used to think that back in the day too. But I'm really trying to be more of a functional movement type person. I still love a good old bro bodybuilding split, and my split is kind of broish, but it's very flexible. I have 3 days that are a must for me to get to the gym, and if I know I have the ability to get in a little more, I will kind of split it up a little differently. And it's worked out so far. Like, one day is always a heavy leg day, so I do a bunch of compound movements, more or less. Like, I really focus on a heavy front squat, maybe a heavy back squat, and then do some single leg heavy lifts. So really, really dialing on just growing like some strength in the legs, not so much like I need to get big or I want to get big. I don't really care. Like, muscles are cool, yeah, I want them, sure, but I want to just genuinely feel strong as a human again, because I haven't felt very strong recently. And then I do have an accessory leg workout day that I try to get in. I can't say I always do. And that's more of like just random workouts, random leg exercises, more in the sense of trying to complement just being a runner. And then my third leg day, which isn't really a leg day, is more of a ankle mobility, strengthening, really slow body movement type deals. So I've been loving it. I get in the 2 for sure, which is the ankle mobility accessory workout and a heavy leg day. The other one, it's if I can. That's one day that's really, really flexible for me. One day is at the gym, which is the heavy leg day. The other day is here at the house. I have bands, I have a few weights, and I have I think it's called a kickstand board that my boy Charlie got me, which I love and highly suggest. They're kind of expensive, and I greatly appreciate him for sending me one, but it has just been a game changer in my training with my ankle. So really, really important there. And then my other days of lifting kind of vary with the bro split. As in, some days I do like an upper day, upper anterior, so like my chest and delts. Sometimes I do more of a posterior day where I may do like back and traps, or sometimes I do an arms and core day. Sometimes I just do a delt day. Sometimes I just do a chest day. It really honestly depends on how I'm feeling and just like what I can get in. Someday I just do a full upper body day and I'm just hitting a few of the main lifts, and like bench, incline bench, maybe overhead press, maybe a few arm workouts, trying to hit core a little bit more because your girl's got a weak core. So just really trying to be as flexible as possible, but I've really, 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 really been loving going to the gym. So I'm taking that in. I'm getting as much time in as I can at the gym. I think right now I'm anywhere between 2 to 3 hours of lifting, which I'm going roughly anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week. I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm hoping to keep it. And I will say, I've talked to a friend of mine, Christy, actually, we talk about lifting quite a bit. And I've said one thing I really want to try without causing any type of injury or out without trying to overdo anything is lifting a little heavier for a bit longer in my training. So I'm very excited to kind of experiment with that. Mind you, I'm not encouraging anyone to do this, but I'm wanting to see like what my body can kind of withstand. And also just listening to my body when I'm super tired, I'm like, I cannot lift heavy. I'm not going to lift heavy, but I do think I can gain a lot more fitness in my muscles in the sense of like muscular, you get what I'm saying. I want to grow some muscles, and I feel like I can just become a stronger and better runner, and I'm excited for it. So that's kind of what the big three things in the sense of, well, the big two things is vert and then strength training. And then with my actual running, which all of you are here to listen to, is I obviously have taken it super, super slow coming back into training. I have recently gotten to doing some strides, seeing how the ankle feels with the strides, and I am genuinely surprised by how well my ankle feels. Very, very little pain. I can honestly say the first day I did strides, I didn't experience any crazy pain. I was so happy because usually the first day of strides for me, it's really painful in my ankle. It's always been a thing. And then like the ankle kind of gets used to it. And then that neuromuscular aspect kind of remembers, hey, she actually can sprint and run kind of fast. So I have to figure this out. And then it'll eventually go away. I didn't experience any of that. And part of me is wondering if it's all the vert and just the mobility and the strengthening within my ankle that I've been doing. So I'll take it. But next up, I'm going to get in some VO2 work. And if anyone knows me, they know I hate some speed work. But you got to do it. I want to become better. And I'm just not going to do all the easy bull crap all the time. So definitely going to do probably 3 to 5 weeks of some VO2 and then get into some threshold work and then get into the endurance build and go run another 100. So now that I am into some strides, I am kind of excited to get in some speed work. I'm excited to see how I feel. One thing I will say, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, is you hear that like running hills all the time makes you slower. I will agree to that, but I will tell you, I feel so much stronger and I feel faster in the hills. So, what I am excited to see and kind of play with is obviously I'm going to be working on tons of hill work in the sense of like I have a vert goal and I live in Florida. But one thing I'm very excited to see is adding in some speed work, adding in some hill speed work and some flat speed work to see where the speed goes and how it comes to back to me and all of that. So I'm very excited to kind of see and experiment with that. I'm interested to see how much I in a couple weeks maybe back on here saying I freaking hate speed work and I'm done and I'm going to push myself through it, but I'm not a happy person. So beware of that message coming through, but I'm excited to get back out there and then obviously go VO2 threshold and endurance block. And I know a lot of you may be wondering, like, Liz, didn't you set up a training block? Like, don't you have a plan? I do. And it is on my computer, but I am trying to potentially throw in a few extra fun little races. So I was going to do a 50 miler in like May, maybe? May, I can't remember. We planned it. It was a group of us in Florida that we're going to do a 50 miler, and now we're moving it to potentially August. It's going to be hot, but I'm very excited for it. But now I'm like, I kind of want to do something in May. So I may run like a makeshift 50K or maybe do something fun on the treadmill. That's probably what I'm going to do. And I know many of you may be listening and be like, a 50K on the treadmill, like you're insane. Yep, yes, I am. And I'm low key kind of excited about it. I just got to figure out what and how I'm going to do it. So if you have any ideas, let me know. It needs to be interesting and it needs to be kind of crazy for me to want to do it. So I'm very excited to potentially figure out that. And then we have the 50 miler in August. I'm going to have a training camp in September for no business. And then we have no business. And then we have the treadmill challenge in December. So no business is the end of October and the treadmill challenge is the end of December. So that's kind of what my year's looking like. I don't think I've actually made a post or really talked too much about it. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to do all of that and what that's going to really look like. But I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the 50K. Maybe I'll go run celery and run 50K out there. That'd be interesting. Who knows? But a potentially 50K, definitely a 50 miler in August when it's really, really hot. And then training camp, no business, and then treadmill challenge. So I'm very, very excited for that. As of right now, I have no other plans, no crewing plans, no pacing plans, and I'm potentially planning to keep it that way. There is one thing I may go do, and if you're listening to this, you may already have the answer for it, but I may go do something local here in Florida and go help a buddy out that wouldn't inconvenience my schedule by any means. So that's potentially the plan. I'm very excited, interested to see how this training block goes because it's my first time doing it truly self coached and having the knowledge I have now as a coach and doing it myself. So I'm very excited to play with my own training and experiment and try some new things. But I'm also excited to get back up into higher volume and get back into training, putting the load on and seeing how I do. I will say I am, right around that 7 hours of training, except for last week. This week is a huge deload week for me. So I should maybe explain that a little bit. Last week we're out at Desert Peak. I was out there with Christy and we kept talking like, oh, we'll go do a long run on Friday. And then we had to go do some course marking for Desert Peak. So that long run actually turned into like a huge power hike because we were doing some of the first half of the 50K. And if anyone knows what I'm talking about, they're like, yeah, it said it was a runnable section. It was not. It was not runnable. Honestly, it was an eye opener for me as a coach to be like, oh crap, maybe I shouldn't always tell people that it's a runnable course when I'm not entirely sure. And I know like Joe didn't mean any harm when he was like, yeah, it's a runnable section. It has runnable parts for sure, but I will say it wasn't what I imagined as a runnable course. Again, I live in Florida, so I think my expectations are way different. That's probably a huge thing as well. But we power hiked a lot of it. We took our time. We were course marking. We were taking videos. We were taking pictures. It was honestly like just a great time. And Christy was then like, hey, I think I'm going to make my run tomorrow longer and like actually get in a solid X amount of hours of time on feet running, not power hiking. I was like, ah, man, I kind of like to do that. What are you thinking about doing? She was going to do the second half of the 50K of the 100K, second 50K of the 100K. And that was to be a more runnable section. So I was like, you know what? I don't mind. Maybe I'll just do like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I think we ended up being out there for 3 hours. So I did a huge run on Friday and a huge run on Saturday. And honestly, I felt pretty good. I will tell you, and Chrissy can talk all the crap. I think around like 2 hours into the second run, I was like, oh shit. Maybe it was like an hour and a half. I could feel it in my legs. They were exhausted. I haven't done a back-to-back run in a long, long time. And my longest run to that point was 2.5 hours. So I did that on Friday and then went out and ran 3 more hours. So I was cooked, not to mention the lack of sleep, not to mention not the best food that I was eating out there. And just like the stress of being at the race and trying to help everyone and, being a people pleaser. But I will say, like, I had such a good time. I have no regrets on all of the training that was done out there, all of the running that was out there. I've had like, truly such a good time. And then Sunday, we actually went out and I did a little shakeout run with everyone. Super chill. It was Lizzie and Christy, and super, super chill effort. We did run the more runnable section, a little 30-minute out and back, and it was great. I will tell you, in the longer run we did on Saturday, I was like, wow, this is such a gorgeous course. It's super runnable. We did hit one section, which is when I was dead ass tired. That was a little verty. It was like up power line. And that was pretty gnarly. But when I got back, a mistake I did, and Chrissy brought this to my attention. I was like, we were telling people how the second half of the 50K was super runnable. And it was like just such a beautiful trail in comparison to like climbing what they had to do up at Mount Lemon, in the sense of like smooth, not super crazy. And she brought it to my attention, like, dude, people just ran a crazy 50K and we just told them that section was like super buttery. We probably messed up there, which I would say we did, because they were so exhausted and I would say didn't have enough time to potentially recover to go and run that runnable section. So, lesson learned, be careful how you think of things, because your point of view of things is way different compared to someone that just ran a 50K on a crazy mountain. But again, an amazing, amazing course, an amazing race held by Joe and Shelby. And seriously, like, the biggest shout out to everyone that was out there, everyone that ran, all of the volunteers and all of the coaches and Joe and Shelby that were out there that just put in all of the work. I have told this to many people, and Joe himself knows this, that when all of this started, I was like, I don't want to be a race director. I don't want anything to do with this race. And when I went out there, I was like, I will help if needed, but like, I don't want to be involved as much as possible. I had so much fun actually being out there helping. It did get a bit crazy, but that's expected for the first year. And I think everything was handled very well as it could have been on very little sleep. I'm pretty sure Joe and Shelby didn't sleep at all from Friday night. I'm sure they slept Friday night. So from Saturday morning to Sunday night, I don't want to assume, but I'm pretty sure they did not sleep. So just insane. And they put a hell of a race on. So if you're looking for a really hard, but challenging in the best type of way race, go check out Desert Peak. Do it in 2027. I highly encourage it. I hope to be out there again next year. And I hope to just watch some badass people kick ass in this race. I will tell you, the course record that was put in place for the 100K is a hefty one. Same for the 50K, and it was just an awesome race, and I had so much fun. I highly encourage you to go check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what the Desert Peak Ultra is, go check it out. It's amazing. If I can remember, I'll put a link in the description, and it's just something I think a lot of people should really look into. It was great. It's a hard thing, but we are, as ultra runners, do hard things, and we need to challenge ourselves. And this will be the race for you to do that for sure. All right, and the last thing I'm gonna say about Desert Peak, because I thought about this and I was like, you know what, I need to put this in there because this story really honestly touched me as a human and just made me realize that even me, my small little self here at the Tribe of Runners, it's Liz Myers on social media, has impacted and inspired people I would never even imagine. And that was when I was at Desert Peak and I met Randy Zuckerberg. So if you don't know who she is, go check her out on social media. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I honestly was like slapped in the face when I had this happen. But we were at Desert Peak and Randy came up. She was actually an amazing finisher of the 100K out there, and she was on the panel. So she did this amazing speech. I actually recorded it, and recorded some of it, and I'm hoping to put it in a YouTube episode. But before everything happened, she came up and I forget who I was with. I know Chrissy was around, but I was with someone else, and she came up and I was like, hey, like, it's so nice to meet you. And she's like, you're Liz. I know who you are. And I was like, oh, how do you know who I am? And I was like, oh, like, crazy. And she's like, I follow you on social media. You are one of the first ultra running people that I've found on social media and started following, and you've inspired me through everything that you've done. And I instantly was just like mouth dropped open and just stared at her like, what? And I even think like I looked at Christy and was like, what? And she was just like, I've been following you along and everything that you're doing in Florida. It's amazing and super, super inspiring. And I honestly think I just like blacked out because I don't really remember anything much after that, except for looking at Christine being like, bro, I inspired Randy Zuckerberg. Like, what? And then I met Shelby Farrell, and I might be saying her last name wrong, but Shelby, if you know who you are, I'm so sorry I forgot your last name. But and she was like, Liz, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you in person. I'm like, bro, same. Like, you are an amazing athlete as well. And she's like, I've just loved following you along with you. And like, me here in this little old house in Florida, doing some hill repeats on celery to get this crazy vert goal, thinking like, no one's watching your shit, no one's paying attention to your shit, like, what's it matter, what are you even doing? To hear that these two amazing females follow me and are inspired by me is just, I think, something that I needed in order to give my person the confidence and just determination and desire to continue to, like, not to say continue doing this because your girl was going to continue doing it, but like just a good spark, as in like you are doing something good and truly inspiring some people. And I'm sure, and I've known of other people telling me that like, oh, you inspire me, and I love the stuff that you do. And I'm not taking any of that for granted or like diminishing any of those people. But I think when we're in this social media world, it's really easy to think like, I'm just this little person. No one hears me. No one watches me, and then to like have someone, that I've genuinely been inspired by and I've watched do amazing things tell me that I'm inspiring them. It's just an amazing feeling. And I had to share that because whether you know it or not, you're inspiring people. And I think we need more people having the confidence knowing they are inspiring people to continue to inspire people. Like, we all have a crazy story. We all have our different type of hard that we're dealing with in life, and we need to remember to share that because we are not alone. I've shared some of my story with some people, and they've, hey, I've been there, I've been through that, I'm so sorry you're going through that, what can I do to help? Or like just letting me talk and then being like, dude, it's completely valid the way you're feeling. And that goes a long way. So don't be afraid to share your story. Don't be afraid to reach out to friends and keep fucking inspiring people. I mean, I'm going to, and I need the help of each and every one of you. So that's my little rant and my last little tidbit about Desert Peak. It was genuinely just such an amazing race. I think that's everything. That's kind of like the update with trying to balance everything, how training has looked, what it's going to look like vaguely, and what like the past weekend just was. It was awesome. I had such a great time, and I look forward to sharing more of what's going on here and helping as many people as I possibly can. I will say, as many of you know, it has been a struggle recently, and I'm very open about it with a little bit of context of like not getting too personal. But things have been better. I'm feeling much better. I have simmered quite a bit. I've just let things off on my chest and maybe, talked about things a bit more. And I'm just genuinely ready for this next section of the year. The first section sucked ass. Now I'm ready to go kick some ass. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it with all of your friends. I cannot grow this community or this tribe of runners without the help of each and every one of you. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next one.